What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the ceaselessly stupendous Dr. Disaster. And do you want to hear something funny? The spoof game of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasky Simulator, hit around the 300 mark for the top sellers on Steam this weekend, and at one point, the number of people watching this game on Twitch actually outnumbered the people watching Assassin's Creed Shadows. Granted, that had a lot to do with Asmongold's influence, but still, that is freaking hilarious. It's just one more middle finger to Ubisoft from gamers.
Hey, what's that you got on your face?
Huh? Blah, blah, blah.
See how that works?
The final numbers are in for the launch weekend of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we can get a pretty decent idea as to how many copies of the game have actually sold by now. I'll show you what the numbers look like. They're likely pretty close to 1 million copies sold by now, as you'll see, but Ubisoft can't celebrate it because they're still busy trying to push the number of players false equivalency, as if people playing the game on Ubisoft Plus and getting free copies is somehow the same as people paying full price for the game.
How could you conceive of something so idiotic?
Those rascally game journalists, though, are really getting in on this action as well, pushing extra hard so that people think that this game is just the most successful thing ever. Really, this article here reads as one of the most dishonest pieces of shilling that I have ever read. I am struggling to think of a single piece of corporate bootlicking that I've come across in gaming journalism that compares to this, and at least off the top of my head, I'm just finding it impossible to think of anything. We are firmly in that phase where the media is trying desperately to sell this game as a major win to dunk on the chuds. The blatant ass-kissing of Ubisoft is off the charts.
I'm very aroused.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video in order to fend off the evil algorithm monster, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, don't forget to support the channel by becoming a member. There are multiple exclusive projects you won't want to miss out on that will be available to members only, including audiobook of my dark fantasy novels. There will be more information soon, but the thing is, we can't just point out the things that we don't like in our culture, we have to push things that we do like, and this is my attempt. So, if you're interested in supporting the venture, consider becoming a member of the channel. But anyhow, let's have a look at the Assassin's Creed Shadows launch weekend numbers, and then we will look at that article from PC Gamer. It's so awful and dishonest, it makes me just want to vomit. But anyhow, Shadows ended up topping out on Steam at just under 65,000 concurrent players, putting it fairly well behind the likes of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which hit about 90,000 concurrent players. And it's way behind the likes of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which topped out at around 250,000 players. Keep these numbers in mind for later when we read that PC Gamer article. But anyhow, according to VG Analytics, Assassin's Creed Shadows is estimated to have sold about 230,000 copies on Steam thus far, and now we are going to use the same method that we used the other day to gauge the number of copies sold for Shadows, which Jay Viper popularized. A big shout out to him. It was pretty damned accurate. When Dragon Age the Veilguard came out, this method worked really well back then, and I expect that it will be really good for this game as well. But over on PSN profiles, we can see that roughly 9,200 people own Assassin's Creed Shadows. There are 903,000 users on PSN profiles, meaning that approximately 1.02% of that site's users own Assassin's Creed Shadows. There are 49 million PS5 users, so if we extrapolate that 1.02% number and apply it to the total number of PS5 users, we get an estimate of just under 500,000 copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows sold on the PlayStation. The Xbox has about 20% of the user base of the PlayStation, so if we take 20% of 500,000, we get 100,000 copies of the game sold on Xbox. And then, if we add all those numbers up, 230,000 copies on Steam, 500,000 on PlayStation, and 100,000 copies on Xbox, we get an estimate of 830,000 copies of the game that has been sold. Obviously, this isn't an exact number, so it is possible that they've already broken 1 million copies sold, but it goes the other way as well. They could be a bit behind our estimate, but I will betcha that our number isn't too far off, whichever direction it's gone. And from a monetary perspective for Ubisoft, this is really not good. Word is that the game cost somewhere around the same amount to make as Star Wars Outlaws, which was $250 million before factoring in marketing. By the time marketing gets factored in on Shadows, we are looking at a number that is likely approaching something in the ballpark of $400 million. Ubisoft takes home approximately 75% of every copy of the game that they sell. The other 25% goes to whatever platform sold it, whether that be PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, or retail. That means Ubisoft gets $52.50 per copy sold on their $70 game. So right now, if they have sold about 1 million copies, that means they have made back about $50 million on their approximately $400 million investment. And the even worse news for Ubisoft is that from here on out, the sales are only going to slow down. Launch weekend always drives people in, but afterward, game sales drop off significantly. However, none of this is stopping PC Gamer from pretending like everything is going super well for Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed Shadows hits 2 million players, putting it on track to be the series' most successful game yet. I simply can't wait for Ubisoft to be shattered into pieces and scattered to the winds after the fallout from this game, which I fully expect now that we have seen the launch weekend for the game faceplant so tremendously. But let's read some of this shit from PC Gamer. Hopefully you have a strong constitution because it is absolutely vomit-inducing. But anyhow, the article says here, at the time of writing, Shadows' all-time peak concurrent player count on Steam is hovering at just over 60,000 within spitting distance of Odyssey's record of 62,069, but far beyond Assassin's Creed Origins at 41,551 and Valhalla at 15,679. If Shadows continues to attract new players at this rate, it could pass Odyssey's record in a matter of days. And you know what I find funny is how these brainlets cherry pick when Steam numbers get to be considered relevant. If we compare the Shadows numbers to, say, Dragon Age the Veilguard, and then say that the game is underperforming compared to a proven flop, they'll dismiss it and say that Steam numbers don't matter. But when they find a way to spin it in their favor, the Steam numbers are super important. But the next paragraph is particularly egregious. It says, in fact, Shadows is on track to be one of the biggest game releases of the year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was hailed as a hit earlier this year and took 2 weeks to hit 2 million players, a milestone Shadows reached in just a few days. And that, folks, is about the most dishonest piece of gaming journalism that you will ever read. We talked about this yesterday, how Ubisoft put out this post on X bragging that they had 2 million players for the game, and I literally compared it to Kingdom Come's post, where they bragged about 2 million sales, as in people willing to pay $70 for their new game. These are absolutely not the same things. players do not equal sales, as I said yesterday, and now we get to see the deception in practice by games journalists. The journalists here are in lockstep, doing everything they can to spin this game as a success. They want you to think Shadows is doing really well to give you FOMO and propel you into buying it. That is how Ubisoft operates, and the agenda of this so-called journalist is apparent in the next paragraph. Shadows' success is a much-needed win for Ubisoft, which had a rough year in 2024 and was relying on Shadows to turn things around. After a string of flops like Star Wars Outlaws and Skull and Bones, Shadows is a breath of fresh air that couldn't have come at a better time. Like I said, this journalist is very aware that Ubisoft needs a win here, and they are clearly trying to sway readers into thinking that everything is hunky-dory. This is sad and egregious as hell, especially when you consider that even if the game had sold 2 million units, even if that was the truth, the company would still be in trouble due to their ridiculous budget. There's no way they will sell 8 million units at full price. Those are Monster Hunter Wilds type numbers. Shadows is struggling to get the Veilguard numbers. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft and their journalist shills into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.